Listen up, MSPs. You might think that you're ready to add cybersecurity, VCIO, or co-managed IT to your list of services, but I want you to hold your horses, because if you're not careful, you could be setting yourself up for a cyber catastrophe. Before you jump on the bandwagon, make sure your business is mature enough to handle the weight, or else you'll be drowning in a sea of regret. What am I trying to say? Is Kyle trying to say that I'm not mature enough to be a cybersecurity provider? Exactly. Guys, I know that might sound harsh and that might be something that you're not used to hearing, but I work with a lot of MSPs on a daily basis. And if there is one thing that is for certain, we sometimes get ahead of ourselves. I wanted you guys to think about that for a second, right? But anywho, it's a beautiful day here in San Diego. I had my morning run this morning. I just could not get this idea out of my head. And it's been kind of brewing a little bit because it's this thought on how some MSPs are just not ready to add additional services. And I get it, guys. All day long, you see these webinars about cybersecurity. You guys see these new titles and certificates that you can add to your repertoire. And it's that inner nerd in us that goes, hey, how do I get that? Should I have that? If I don't have that, what does that say about me? And beyond that, no one has the tenacity right now to say it comes at the risk of slowing the monetization of some products out there. Right? There's a lot of vendors out there that rely on us to continue to mature, to have more things to be sold to us as MSPs, because that's what is needed to funnel the channel, right? There's a whole cash flow, there's a whole pecking order that allows innovation to happen. Now, guys, I don't want you to get me wrong here, right? And I don't want this to be taken out of context. I am not here to say that cybersecurity is not important. I am not here to say VCIO is not important. I mean, hell, if you happen to see my webinar last week, I discussed all about adding VCIO as a service to generate revenue in your organization. And we had a lot of people on that call. And a lot of people were hitting me up after the call saying, hey, Kyle, well then how should we add VCIO services to our organization? Some of these clients, right, that were my clients on that call, we had that conversation. And it was one of those questions where I asked them, right, how does it fit into the strategy of our organization? How does it fit into our goals for this year? Because there is one important thing that comes out of this, guys. There is a responsibility that we have to where if we sell a service, we have to be able to deliver that service, and it has to bring cash flow into the organization to support everything from the labor to do the work, to the sales and marketing to get the work, to the finance and overhead teams that help us just let the business run and operate. Because if we don't do this, guys, we're liable to not do it well, cripple our team and reputation, or end up on the 5 o'clock news because you made a promise that you could handle something and it blows up and your client ends up in some level of a breach, right? Are we putting our disciplined tenacity to go forward and do what we do well? Or are we just saying we don't have time to do it well, we're just gonna do it? Now, we may not say it like that. And I know a lot of us are so well-intentioned. I see it every single day, and it's why I love this channel to death. But sometimes we allow that inner nerd in us, guys, to sometimes just consume everything that we're trying to accomplish. Now, it's been since we recorded that video that I was working with a couple of my clients in this discussion, and I kind of wanted to show how we started to really work forward of, is this something that we have time right now to really champion and give our clients added value, right? At the end of the day, we do truly care about our clients. And, you know, if you're in a mature organization, then the first thing, right, we want to discuss is what are the development costs to offer this, right? What's the capital investment? What is the ROI, right? How much money are we expecting to actually make? And what is the time that it's going to take us to make that amount of money? And I know a lot of you engineers right now that might be watching this video going, Kyle, you're talking a lot about making money. You're not talking about IT. But guys, think about it. We are a business that makes money off of doing IT. We have to return a profit to pay for our sales team, to pay for our wages, to pay for all the shiny things that we have, right? And to make sure that the business is in a situation where if something dire happens, the business isn't going to have to close its doors. And let's be real right now, guys. A carton of eggs costs more than it's ever cost before. And I can guarantee you those engineers, or you guys, you engineers that are watching this call, you want to raise, you want to make more money, right? Your rent's gone up, our costs have gone up, right? There's these things in our lives that we have to find ways to pay for. Now, if I'm not making money, I'm not increasing my clients' agreements, not protecting my margins, then there is no money to do that. We're actually at a spot where we're asking, how do we pay people less? Because now I have no wiggle room to make these things happen. So, right, we have to have a process yes, I said the P word, that we have the ability to say, how are we going to add that next service or product to my portfolio? Right? We can't just slap it on the menu after we go to a conference or watch a webinar and say, hey, right, we're going to do it. And I want to talk about this, right? You guys have probably seen on my LinkedIn where I had a Venn diagram. Maybe I'll put it up on the screen where, right, I had intent and discipline being the cruxes to how we get results in an organization. Now, it's in that Venn diagram, that discipline that I talked about quite a bit. And the reason I talked about that is we need to have the restraint and discipline as technologists to know that, hey, the products and services I sell my clients, not only is it of value to my clients and they appreciate the hard work and the efforts we go to get them some of those products, but also I can offer an amazing workplace, amazing lifestyle for the organization and myself as an owner, and make sure the business keeps its doors open. Now, that new shiny widget, endpoint, service, right? It may be really attractive to us because us as technologists, right? That's why a lot of us got into it. We love touching the new crap. We love reverse engineering everything that we see. We love going to conferences and going, oh, cool, I've never seen anything do that before. It makes my life easier. And then we buy it and they bill us every single month, and we never implement it all the way. Why? We simply did not have the time or capital investment to do it well. Now, what I want to do, guys, is I want to take a minute to show you how some of this math worked out. Now, a lot of my clients, when they come to me, right, they'll say, oh, well, this product is going to bring us this amount of margin, right? Oh, it's going to be 20%, 30%. Oh, cool, right? That's decent margins, right? But, there's a lot of things that go into that next question, which is, well, what is the total margin that our company needs to be satiated, right? There is a blended margin, as sometimes you'll hear, that we need in the organization just to keep the lights on, to put enough money in the bank. And if we start to add too many products to our product catalog, we may not have the workforce to be able to sell all of the volume of all of the SKUs that we have. And we start to go a little bit in this level to where we want to keep everything status quo, right? We just added this new product, I need to sell it. But if I don't have expectations or a process to really do product development well, it ends up looking like this. So here's just a random scenario, and it's going to make sense as we get through this, where let's say this month we sold $1,000 of every product and offering that's in our SKU, right? We had MSP, projects, product, cloud offering, a backup, a SOC, a 365, right? We hit it out of the park this month. We sold $1,000 of each. Now, I use some margins based off my clients and also some years of experience to really figure out, right, how much profit from a gross profit perspective did that bring into the organization, right? 55% for MSP, that's really damn good, right? This MSP that I'm showing you right now, they're a fantastic service delivery company. That means that they're able to capture best in class margins on their MSP. I know that's not all of us, and we need to keep that in the back of our mind, because as we get down this rabbit hole, you'll realize that this just further and spins that snowball down the hill to where we start to go, how are we going to pay for anything? We get into a little bit of a trap. So with that, right, MSP, projects, product, cloud, backup, SOC, 365. At the end of the day, what this got for us was about a $7,000 of revenue with about $2,390 in profitability, right? Not bad. 34% margin, right? For a lot of us, we see this number quite a bit where, hey, 34% blended, right? That's a common language that you'll sometimes hear. Sometimes you'll just hear an MSP say, here's our gross margin. But, for me, what I like to focus on, just, as a side note, I like to make sure we talk apples to apples on this thing, because to me, that's just AV, RMM, maybe a filter, not too much in here. But, right, 34% is what this MSP made in new deals. And we're not even talking about things like accrual bookkeeping. We're not talking about deferred revenue, right? Where maybe this $1,000 in projects doesn't go into the bank until next month. We're talking purely cash right now, as easy as we can talk. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is to grow your business, right? And I just want you guys to stick this number in your head. 10% of all your revenue should be going to sales and marketing, whether that's wages, whether that's ads, whether that is putting your name on a billboard. I don't care. Spend 10%. If you're spending less than that, then spend more. But Kyle, my margin sucks, so I can't spend more. This is exactly why we're having this conversation, right? If we think of it from a budgetary perspective, then we're not going to spend it elsewhere, or that new shiny. You guys are following me now, right? So the next thing I want to show is that I'm budgeting 23% to goods and administration. Now, goods and administration, just high level. I do not put service labor in here. I put those in COGS, so they would be somewhere right in these buckets. You know, if my pen decided to work right, they would be somewhere in these buckets, right? That's where a lot of that labor is going to be. So with that being said, 23% is extremely liberal. That is very low. Most organizations I see, this is 25 to 28%. But right, I wanted to show what this looks like for a mature MSP when they decide to make the decision of, do I add a new line of service or product? So at the end of the day, this $7,000 in deals only put $80 on the bottom line. We had to sell $7,000 in products and services to make $80. Think about that. That's a lot of work and effort. Now, in this conversation, right, where I have a more newer client or a new skeptical or someone I'm talking to when we're trying to figure out strategy, some guy books an appointment off Reddit, right? One of the things that, yes, that does happen, right? The next thing I ask the question is, well, what is your average salary? Because this is assuming that not a single mistake happened, not a single quoting issue happened. And not only that, a client didn't just say, hey, can I have a little extra? And I wanted to be a nice guy and say yes. And what I normally see, right, is average salary is around $65,000, fully blended, that's about $81,000, which is about $41 an hour. So think about that. If I have a mistake that costs me 2 hours of labor in this month, I have made no money. 2 hours. That means that I have to have processes that are so tight and so on the ball, not to mention a sales force that can sell every single service, whether that's account management, inside sales reps, right? We have that customer success process down. I only can make 2 hours of mistakes before I start to lose money. So, right, can I value all of these with the same effort? No. So when I run this exercise, what I'll commonly hear then is, oh, so we just need to sell more of everything. We need to start thinking about gross profit dollars as a minimum. I hear all the time, I'm not going to take a deal unless I make $500. I'm not going to take a deal unless I make $1,000. Let's look at that. I did that exact thing. All right, well, let's bring out that math. Let's say we sold enough services or goods just to make a $500 profit. So as you can see, right, MSP, $910. So we actually, MRR took a dip. Projects took $1,000. Product took a lot, right? Because it's really low margin. Took us $45.50. So we had probably farm a lot of deals off of our clients. Cloud $22.50, backup $1,700, SOC $910 as well, right? Because it's a higher margin product, or $365. And yes, guys, I know we can poke holes all in this logic all day long, but the important part is to look at how this models, because it allows our brain to start thinking of strategy. Now, essentially, I have added $14,000 to the top line. I increased $7,000 to $14,000, right? With more sales effort, right? Hey, let's go after more SKUs, more closed deals in order to make that $500 minimum. Now, that cost is about $11,000. And here's the kicker, guys. This ended up making us a 24% gross margin because we sold more products at a lower gross margin, right? We went from 34% to 24%. How in our right minds now was that a good idea? We basically sold ourselves into a hole. We spent all that time to make less damn money. And I want you guys to think about this a little bit, because so often I hear my clients say, oh man, we didn't make what we needed to make last month. So let's go do a bunch of QBRs. Let's go let's go get that project closed. Let's go replace all these servers. Let's build a campaign to get all of our clients converted to like X, Y, or Z. There's always a flavor of the month. And as you guys can see, right? And yes, we have onboarding fees to compensate for some of these things, but at the end of the day, these add-ons are in no way ever going to make us better. It's never going to give us more dollars to spend on those resources that make up the abundance of our company, right? The majority of the employees at your MSP are service delivery personnel. These are the ones that need, right? They need love and care. They need to be matured. They need things to become stronger, faster, better. And the only way we can do that is with more profit on the bottom line that's budgeted through revenue that has a certain level of gross margin. So if we start to do things where we knee jerk and we start saying, let's just sell all of these add-ons, we are actually hurting our business. And I'm pausing here for a second because this is something that I see so often, and I feel so horrible because we put all this time and stress and effort, and the only thing we did was made the problem worse. Because I can tell you right now, to sell $5,000 of product from that $1,000 we had, right? That took more time. That took more account management. You may have felt like I need a new account manager. To sell $3,000 in 365, right? I may have had to go find a new client. That's a significant increase when we're selling, $4 to $10 per user seats, right? So when we think about these issues, right, we almost had to spend more time because I'm sure, as you guys have predicted, that 10% of sales is about $1,400. That G&A came out to about $3,300, and you're thinking to yourself, Kyle, but G&A shouldn't go up because, right, that I'm not hiring more sales or finance staff. Well, how hard is it to reconcile 365? How difficult and pain in the ass is it to reconcile backup and cloud, right? It's taking more cycles. And the only way you scale anything in your business is to budget per capita. So we have to think of these decisions to where, yeah, this might not how it looks at the end of the day, but this is what a mature outlook would be in a best case scenario. And if it's better than that, then holy crap, let's have a pizza party. Please get more than one pizza though, because you guys remember in elementary school, you'd be all stoked for a pizza party and they'd be chopping those slices into like the real tiny ones. And as a fat, second grader, I'd be going, I need like 12 of those, mother. I'm going to stop right there before I cuss. And you would see that little thin slice and you're going, I should have brought a lunch, right? We don't want those pizza parties. But anyway, back on track. So as you've probably predicted, right? We are now in dire straits. We are now losing money, assuming all of our processes went perfect. All of our scopes were perfect. Account managers didn't spend an extra couple hours trying to sell these deals, right? At the end of the day, those 2 hours of mistakes now has gone to no mistakes. We had to work harder and have less areas to grow. So what do we do? Now, at the end of the day, right, what I'm really trying to point out, guys, effort and additional SKUs does not enhance cash flow. You can do all the add-ons you want, but it is not going to make your MSP better. MSP sales need to remain your focus. If you put all of that effort that you did to grow the top line by $7,000 and you only concentrated on MSP clients and new logos, got to think about that, right? If we took all of those hours and all of that time and said, all we care about is new clients, net new logos in our organization, I want to show you how that's actually different and how exciting that is. So, right, let's say that we said, screw it. As long as we sell $1,000 on the other products, let's just not focus about it because those are add-ons that have a client need, right? That's nurturing the relationship. That's making sure they have enough to operate. We're not just trying to add on. Now, right, that means that now that effort, that $7,000 differential, let's say that we were able to hit $14,000 again, just like in that above exercise. So we increased to $8,000 in MRR of MSP this month. Well, as you can see, right, we went from $550 of profit now to, as you can see, $4,400 in profit. And let's see how this shakes down. This now means that we have, right, $14,000 like we discussed, which is $7,700 in cost, which is $6,200 on the bottom line, which means that we now have 44% on the bottom line. Guys, just by focusing on net new MRR, net new MSP clients, we actually increased our blended margins by 10% this month. We increased it, right? Now we have the ability to go, cool. If we increased it and someone asked me for a raise, if someone asked me, hey, I need to spend an extra couple hours on this to make the client satisfied, right? And we're not even thinking of the compounding effect to where now that client's MRR is going to just keep getting collected month over month, right? And how that's going to double and double and double as you find ways to make this happen. We are now at a position where we have increased our returns. Our efforts now are paying us back in dividends, right? They're paying us back in multiples. Just because we shifted our effort from rather than the shiny, the replacement AV, the new RMM platform, we have literally gone, let's just sell new deals. What that does though, right, is we probably did need some increased sales efforts still, right? We still need people to do it. G&A probably did go up as well because now we have more MRR, probably more transactions, more ACH. We're going to have also, if you think about it, right, they're going to have add-ons and projects that they need. But even better, we are now at 11% gross margin in the net new revenue we collected this month. 11%. I know for a lot of my clients, 11% is that's fantastic, right? It's not the 20% EBITDA that you might be thinking in your head that allows you to, right, sell your MSP for higher multiples, but at least it starts to get us in line of thought, right? Because there's other revenue from this MSP that we're talking about, but there's other things that are starting to happen to where now I'm in a position where I've increased just this net new revenue by 10% by one single decision or discipline that we had to say, hey, maybe we hold off on doing that other effort. Because if we got to think, right, if we're this guy where we're starting to lose money because we increased product, I probably didn't have the time to make the deal better. I probably didn't have time to develop the product well. I probably didn't have time to make the client happy. I probably had to rob a resource from our MSP clients in order to get that new product off the ground, which means that, now we probably have churn happening from our current clients because they're not getting the services that they are paying for or expecting. And now we're in a situation to where we're continuously trying to claw ourselves out. How is that a good idea? Now, I get it, guys. You're probably somewhat thinking, right? Like, Kyle, so are you trying to say I should never add services? Are you saying that I should just always sell MSP agreements? Well, part of me says yes, but that's the thought, guys, that I need you to start thinking about. When we make decisions in our business, what is the fallout by the results of those actions? Let's stop. Let's get our head above water. Let's model out what these things look like, right? And as we've seen though, right? When we start to develop cash flow, right, that net profit, now we're putting money in the bank. Now, if there's that D-Day scenario where a bunch of clients fire us, I don't have to fire all my employees, right? We're not going to be increasing churn from our current clients because we're dedicating those managed service hours to managed services. We're not going to have that cybersecurity risk by selling a product that we just aren't staffed to handle, right? We're bringing ourselves into a situation where now we're building up a savings, right, a nest egg. And I want you to then ask that question again. How should I not offer any new services or products? Well, if you're continuing to add that 10% that compounds month over month into your savings account, I can guarantee you, literally, I can guarantee with this math that we just saw that you're going to have a big fat $50, $60, $100,000 in your savings account. And when I decide to go, well, I want to offer VCIO services. Then when we go into the next process, which is how do I scope, how do I do project development, I don't have to then go rob my managed services team for a tier 3 guy to go help me build out this product. And a sales team, I don't have to go rob one of my sales guys to go, hey, what's the strategy to sell this new line of services? And I don't have to go rob one of my finance staff to say, hey, rather than collecting cash, I want you to figure out how to build this new cybersecurity or VCIO service, right? We're able to say, let's go add labor. Let's go actually have a capital investment so that our current services don't have to be ignored. That is that maturity that we strive to get to. And that's why at the beginning of the call, I asked the question, I don't know if everyone's mature enough to offer these services because I understand by doing this every single day that their P&Ls and their current cash positions do not allow them to do this well. And I don't want you guys digging yourselves in a continuous hole. Guys, to digest this a little bit, right? I really want you to sit there and just think. I want you guys to understand that I realize personally that by what I am telling you right now, it's a complete disparagement on what you've probably been used to hearing from whatever thought leaders, webinars, vendors that you've talked to in the past. And it's hard to hear because us as technologists, we want to do these things. And that's where the discipline comes into place of, hey, maybe at that pizza party, that thin slice, maybe that's probably what I just need to have. That's what's going to have to satiate me. And I can guarantee you guys that your P&Ls will look better if we have this maturity to always think, what is this going to cost us? What is the return we're going to get from this new shiny thing that I've been told that I need to do or sell? Right? It's this process that now lets us move forward. And, I also want you to spend some time, right? I don't want to get into product development right now because I want you to spend some time thinking about your margins. I really do. And ask yourself, how do I get more gross profit out of my current resources? Because I guarantee you right now, right? You saw that model. I was at 55%. I was extremely generous with how I modeled this. And I can tell you right now, your gross margins may not be 55%. And I bet you right now, you have a couple engineers that want to raise. And I guarantee you, for the owners watching this video, you would like to put more money in your own bank account and not take a loss. So, right, let's work on what we can. Let's mature what we do. Let's do what we do and do it so damn well that it pays for everything else in our organization. Now, guys, just take time, think about these things, right? We'll probably do a future call on 2 topics. One, really dissecting your gross margins. There already is a video I'll make sure to go ahead and link it down below, that I have deconstructed MSP profitability. It's a little bit of a, needs a 2.0, needs a refresh. I did this at IT Nation the last couple years, but go ahead and watch it. But guys, and then the second video, right, when you do achieve this, how do I go into that product development cycle? So hey guys, as always, I appreciate your time and your eyeballs. I want us to all exceed expectations together. And don't forget, follow me on LinkedIn so you can sign up for our bi-weekly webinars that we have, Alex and I, to find other ways to mature your MSP. We got plenty of them. We look forward to seeing you there. And everyone, have yourself a great rest of your week.